Good afternoon, everyone. It's Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations and the Maumelle Area Chamber of Commerce. And I am so excited to be here this afternoon and have the opportunity to have a conversation with and share the conversation with you with Alex Galbraith. Good afternoon, Alex. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, you're so welcome. I'm just so excited. Gosh, you live right here in Maumelle and you have so many things going on in your life. And so I just thank you for the opportunity to meet you and to have this conversation and to share all this good stuff with the citizens of Maumelle and even beyond that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, anything from Maumelle.
That's right. It's a great place to live, work, and play, as we say, right?
Absolutely.
Well, man, you were recently a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune. I'm like, I know a star.
Everybody keeps telling me. They keep saying you're famous now. I'm like, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Hey, has anybody asked for your autograph yet?
Not yet. I'm hoping that comes in the future, though.
Oh, okay. Well, it probably will. Well, man, tell us about that whole experience. What even prompted your interest? Kind of walk us through the steps. I know that you were out in LA, what, about a month ago, I guess, for filming, and then it aired last week. Just tell us about that experience. I'm sure it was incredible. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was a long experience and a long process. Um, I've always been a Wheel of Fortune fan. I've watched it probably since I was like 2 or 3, and my dream was to just one day get up there and spin the wheel. When I was younger, I asked my parents to get me a Wheel of Fortune wheel for Christmas. That was how into the show that I was. And they did that. They made like a wheel out of one of those sit and spin toys when I was like 3 or 4 years old. So that was pretty cool. But in November, they had an event down here in Little Rock where, they did a couple practice rounds, but you were just randomly selected. And I wasn't selected for that, but they drew my application later once they went back to LA for me to come back for the real auditions in January, which were also held in Little Rock. I went to those, did extremely well there. And then about a week and a half later, they were calling me to go out to LA at the beginning of February. So it was a long process to get out there. From the time it went to November to the time it aired was probably about 6 months, but totally worth it.
Wow. I bet. So you and your mom went out there. How long were y'all there, like from start to finish for the airing part? Just a few days or?
Yeah, well, we decided to make a big trip out of it. So
Okay.
myself, my mom, and my grandma all went with me. And because those are like the two biggest Wheel of Fortune fans alongside me. That was a dream for them too. And I was so glad to get to go share that with them. But we got out there. We filmed on a Thursday. I think we got out there on a Tuesday. Because, not many times you get to go out to Los Angeles, especially in the middle of the school year. So we went and got to really sightsee the whole city, did a big bus tour, did a Warner Brothers tour, went to a Lakers game. So we really took everything in. So we were there for probably about 4 or 5 days.
Wow, what a great trip. And like you said, just a fantastic opportunity with your family, your mom and your grandmother to be able to do that. So I have to know, what was the set like? And tell us about Pat and Vanna.
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot, actually.
I bet.
What they were like. But, the one thing that really surprised me was just how small the set was. You watch it on TV, they do a great job of making the board and the wheel and just the whole area they're in a lot bigger than it really is. The wheel, the board, amount of people in the audience, much smaller than what you're normally seeing. So that was really interesting to see. And then Pat and Vanna, both great. Vanna actually came in to like the little green room they had set up for all the college kids, all the food and where we filled out paperwork and stuff. She came in early in the morning to talk to us for a second, and that was super nice of her. And then Pat, you didn't get to talk to him very much. He's a very, he's not the most loving guy in the world, I'll say that. But he's very professional, and just being, a couple of feet away from him, and then just getting to shake his hand once was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, again, what an incredible experience. And just getting to meet the other college students from other parts of the country too, I bet was kind of neat.
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, that was one of the cool things too, is we had people, as local there as like San Diego, being filmed in Los Angeles, and we had people as far as Maine and Providence and stuff like that, which was just really, really cool to me, just to get to talk to everybody and see what their majors were and what their stories were on how they got out here and everything like that. I mean, everybody just kind of had this different story. And then, you were able to build some friendships and connections within a span of a few hours, because we got to the studio at 7:30 in the morning, and I didn't leave the studio until about 6. So I was there for almost 12 hours.
Wow.
Which was a great time to really get to know people. You didn't have a choice but to get to know people. You put your phones up. Once you get there, phones are off, can't touch them. So you actually had to socialize, which was great. It was such a cool opportunity.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. And, I mentioned earlier that now I know a star. I have to go ahead and put the word Hollywood in front of it because you were actually in LA.
Even better. Let's do that. Let's stick to that title.
Yeah. I mean, Hollywood star. Hey, well, I'm so glad that you got to have that experience. That's just super cool. It's got a major cool factor to it. So you did all this while also being a student. You're a sophomore at Arkansas State University, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell us about your major and what you're interested. I know it's sports related, so tell us a little bit more about that.
So the exact title of my major is creative media production, with the emphasis in sports broadcast. And, we just do so much at ASU. They have one of the best, I think, media departments in the entire state. I think, they do a fantastic job with their staff and just the opportunities that they provide their students with. So I focus a lot there. I run my own sports talk show there. It's called Red Wolf Roundtable. So I'm a host and producer of that. And then I help out with a bunch of other friends too, just with their projects. I had a friend, Josh, who did a great kind of narrative story, Under the Arch. I was the narrator for that. Got a good friend, Jacob. He's doing his own game show. I've been a contestant on that and helped with his production. So just, it's creative media production. The emphasis is sports, and there aren't many things I can do with that there, but just getting the hands-on experience, whether it's being in front of the camera or being behind it, is just going to serve me, so well down the road.
Oh gosh, absolutely. And have you been a sports lover? I know you've been a Wheel of Fortune lover all of your life, but when did you become really interested in sports, Alex?
I kind of, my major sport is football, and I kind of fell in love with football around 2008, 2009. So I was relatively young. I didn't understand it very well when I was younger. Didn't really want anything to do with it when I was super young. And then I slowly it kind of became a thing where it's like, all right, my family loves it. I better figure out how this thing works. And then once I did, it just fell in love and then just took off. I mean, it kind of just became a passion, and I don't know what I'd do without it right now.
Right. Well, and that's a wonderful segue into the next thing we want to talk about, and that is college football. Okay. So let's see, Wheel of Fortune contestant, student, you're working, on campus at this, you have this show, and you have a business.
Yeah.
The Gridiron Expert. So, and it's all about college football, right?
It is all the time, 24/7.
Wow, there can't be much wrong with that, especially in SEC country.
No, and even the South, people love that stuff. They eat it up.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your business. How did it come to be? What do you do?
Well, I could go on and on about this forever. I can tell you that. But this all kind of started about the late fall of 2016. They have these college football playoff rankings now. And I remember one night I was sitting there watching it with my dad and my brother, and I kind of just went off on this tangent because I really disagree with these rankings. I think the whole system's flawed, but that's a story for another time. But they said, they were like, okay, you're making some good points. Why don't you start sharing these points with other people? And so I did. As a joke, I made a few YouTube videos, and then I really started to take it seriously in the summer of 17, and it just took off from there. Way more than I ever expected. Predictions, analysis, weekly videos, live streams, guest appearances on other sports shows. I mean, the way that it's kind of developed is something that I never thought was possible a few years ago. And we've quickly become, the Gridiron Expert has quickly become one of the best sites and sources in the entire country. And that sounds almost ridiculous and almost sounds kind of, doesn't sound true. But statistically, when you look at our predictions, both straight up and against the spread, they're better than every other major sports outlet. So ESPN, CBS, Saturday Down South, for all those SEC people, we've beaten them and we're providing more accurate and unbiased analysis than all of them. And so that's something that we take a lot of pride in, that our viewers really appreciate as well.
That is absolutely incredible. And you're right. Even as you were, and I'm reading your notes here too, where it says already more accurate than ESPN, CBS, and Saturday Down South. You're continuing to grow. And what is it? What's the secret sauce? Obviously, you can't quite tell us, but give us something here, man. What you are gifted indeed.
Well, thank you. And a lot of people ask that too. That there's something there, especially for those people that bet against the spread. That there's a
exactly.
And there's really not. I mean, you have to look at it from a standpoint of an analyst and not from a standpoint as a fan. That's the first thing you have to do, because I'm a huge Razorback fan. And if I was extremely biased towards my team every time I did a video or prediction, that would not be nearly as accurate. So you have to put those things into perspective. And then I think what a lot of people don't know is there's a lot of research that goes on behind the scenes. I think they think, I come up with an idea, we just sit down, shoot a video or make a prediction and throw it out there. And there's hours and hours and hours of predictions and note taking and film watching and everything that goes into that before we actually put that stuff out to the public. So, but for me, that sounds like a lot, and it is, but I love every minute of it. Like I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wow, I love that. Well, I popped your website up here, and there's your email address. I think I had it up here earlier as well. And I've got your logo for everyone watching. That's the Gridiron Expert logo in the top right there. But I want to go ahead and bring it full screen just for a couple of seconds because I want everybody to take a good look at it to see that branding. Did you design that, Alex? Here we go. Did you design that logo?
I actually did not. I do not. My really good friend John is a fantastic editor and designer. He created that logo for us, and he created our intro that we use for every video. So all in credit to him for that. But it's catching a lot of people's eyes now, so I owe him a lot for that.
I love it. Well, a little shout out to him. And hey, you got to have people around you that help make some of these things happen, right?
Absolutely. He's done some work for me. My brother has done a lot of work for me when it comes down to editing and helping with some design work and even just throwing ideas at me like, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. And then, people that I really haven't even met in person, but that reach out to me through email or whatever that want me to come on their show or want to be on my show. And, it's kind of like we're just trading with each other. I'll help you if you help me. And all these connections within the sports industry and the media department, it's fantastic.
That is incredible. Golly, you have a little bit going on there, Alex.
Just a little bit, but, I love every second of it. I like the hustle and bustle,
Yeah, that's great. Well, what's next? I know you'll finish your degree, I'm assuming. What's your long-term goal and vision overall?
Well, what we're doing here with the Gridiron Expert is something that I want to do further down the road, not necessarily with this channel and this business, but I view this as a great stepping stone into kind of getting into the larger sports field by becoming, my ultimate goal is to become an anchor, analyst, commentator, whatever it is at ESPN. That's the ultimate goal. And I fully believe that I can get there relatively soon. Graduate college with this degree in creative media production, keep this up, continue to build this brand that'll maybe help me get noticed more around the country, and then just kind of take every opportunity that comes my way down the road and hope to reach that ultimate goal in a few years.
Absolutely. I love it. And yeah, if your predictions are spot on, like they seem to be, I think your phone will be ringing from ESPN.
We can only hope. We can only hope they'll see it.
Yeah, sooner rather than later. Well, Alex, before we finish up here today, we've got several different people watching now. We'll have some folks come on for replay. There's a good chance that some of those individuals might be young adults like yourself who are either in high school, about to go to college, or maybe they're in college now, or they're just in that space where they are considering entrepreneurship. They may be considering other careers. What would you say just to be encouraging to other young adults who have a dream, have a thought, have an idea, and are kind of, trying to decide what they want to do? What would you say to them?
The first thing I would definitely say is, first off, don't let anybody tell you can't do that. People are always going to try to tell you, I get a bunch of hate comments and stuff like that. You're not good at this, you're not good at that. don't let that deter you from anything. Absolutely. And then the second thing is, whatever you're going into, you're going to have to work for it. It's not going to come immediately. It's going to start slow. This gridiron expert business started extremely slow, and especially during now in the off season, it's extremely slow. And so you can't really give up on that. If you stay persistent and you keep working at it and you keep putting in that time and that effort, more than maybe the guy next to you, then you're going to end up being better than that guy next to you. So persistency, hard work, and dedication, it's cliche, but it really does go a long way.
That's some wonderful advice. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else you'd like to share before we close?
No, just first, thank you for having me on. And of course, everybody, please go subscribe to the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Check out the website. We appreciate all of your support. It's the support from our fans and subscribers that keep us going. So we really appreciate that.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to be following along this fall now that I know about you.
All right. That's what we like to hear.
Absolutely. I've already subscribed. So, well, Alex, thank you again. Maumelle and, other people around the country, thank you so much for watching, for supporting the Maumelle Area Chamber of Commerce, and for supporting Southern Inspirations as we continue to share good stories about good people doing good things. With that, we will close it out. Everyone have a wonderful afternoon. And Alex, thank you again. I'll see you around town.